You ever feel like you're in that film Groundhog Day with Bill Murray? Every day you just wake up, it's the same thing, the same set of things over and over and over again. And I sometimes think this is one of the more difficult aspects of benzo recovery. I mean, after you figured it out, after you figured out your tapering, speed, schedule, dosages, and you've got the right maybe coaches or therapists or doctors around you and the people around you, and you've done all the math, you've figured out how to address your maladaptive coping, you've figured out how to add better coping, and you've got the right therapies and everything in motion, from your exercise to your diet, supplementation. You have your day mapped out from, hour one to the last hour. But after that point, I think what the real challenge is sort of running out of steam. It's running out of the endurance, right? And it's that feeling of Groundhog Day. Here we go again. One more day. Let me get up right out of bed. Maybe I slept. Maybe I didn't. Maybe I slept awful. Okay, it's time to do the cognitive reframing. Time to get a glass of water. I'm maybe going to do a little yoga. Okay, let's walk again. It just becomes dreadful. And you become burned out of it. You become burned out on your survival mechanism, your survival program. And this is where I think there's a lot of overlap with fighting, with fighters, professional fighters, like a boxer or a mixed martial artist. They enter into a camp. They have their opponent. They have their coaches. They have what they call a camp, their training, their training course that they're going to endure. And it always starts the same. It's always really tough to get started, right? Like it's like, oh God, I got to start dieting already. Okay, I'm cutting out these foods I love. I can't eat those anymore. And, I've got to get up at a certain time, and I've got to avoid a lot of other things that I used to like to do. And now it's all about it's all about the training. I was about to say recovery for benzo, but in a sense, it's all about the training. And, and they work hard. And so they eventually build up some momentum. Weeks go by, maybe at let's look at it like an 8-week training course. The first month they really are, knocking off the cobwebs and getting some momentum. By month 2, they're really picked up steam. They've just been grinding, working their butts off. And somewhere between months 2 and 3, usually, they just get burned out. It's Groundhog Day. I don't want to eat chicken and rice again. I'm tired of diet restrictions. I'm tired of cutting out all the good things, the caffeine or the cigarettes or the alcohol or just all the other fun stuff that they used to do. It's all gone. It is just this camp. It's just one fixation on this opponent, and I'm training to fight this opponent, and everything I'm doing is based on that, from the way I sleep to the activities during the day to the food to the supplements. These people oftentimes leave their families, their friends, their homes, and they insulate themselves into a bubble, and that's all they do is eat, sleep, and work on their opponent. And somewhere in the middle, they just get burned out, and they say, I am tired of it. I don't want to do this anymore, right? And that's where you need a really good coach, or at least a good team around you, or both, to say, get up, come on, you can do this. You can make it. You can keep going. Don't forget why we're doing this. It's really easy to get lethargic and complacent in the middle and forget, or to underappreciate or undervalue the opponent, because that's what you want to do, because you're trying to give yourself a break. You want an excuse to break from the Groundhog Day routine. And you need someone around you to say, hey, don't forget, we're fighting, let's say Mike Tyson. Benzos are Mike Tyson in his prime. This thing could knock you out. He is not playing around. It don't matter how big and strong or fast you are, or it just doesn't matter. We need to train. We need to focus. And so sometimes what they do in training camps when a fighter is just fatigued and he's just having a hard time to keep going, they'll take a little break. They'll say, okay, we're going to take 2, 3, 4, 5 days, maybe even, and we're going to go to the beach. And sometimes they'll even structure things still around, training in a sense, but maybe in a different environment. Instead of sitting in that garage or that gym, sweating on the mats in the dark atmosphere with the same people and the same stimulus that's just making you sick. You see, let's go to the beach. We'll run up and down the beach. We'll do some fun exercises. We'll play a game, where we're still moving. We're still, getting in these little tweaks and, little mechanisms that we're working on. I'm trying to think about this in terms of fighting with benzos. It might be like exposure therapy, or it might be exercise or mindfulness or social interactions, and etc. So my advice is to maybe look at where you are. If you've been working hard and it's been months or maybe even a year and you're just feeling burned out of the Groundhog Day routine, maybe find a way to have a reset. Maybe find a way to change something up just for a short period of time and see if we can't kind of rejuvenate ourselves. Maybe it's a different way of approaching the walking. Maybe it's a different exercise. Maybe it's a different place you can do it at. Switch things up a little bit. And maybe you might just need a few days to just rest and do nothing. I mean, that's certainly fine too, to just say, you know what, I am phoning it in and I'm going to sit on the couch and read or watch some comedy films or shows or play a video game or, whatever. I'm just going to hang out in nature. I'm not working right now. I'm calling out of benzo recovery sick right now. All right. Now that's fine. What we don't want to do is we don't want to lose steam. We don't want to lose momentum. We don't want to backslide. So be careful with that. If you take a couple of days, maybe a week at the most to sort of reset yourself and then get back to work. But really the best situation would be if you could find a way to keep doing the things that you're doing, but maybe change them creatively a little bit, change the environment, change the direction, change the approach. You know what I mean? If you're tired of, for one example, I got tired of walking around the garden sections at Lowe's or Home Depot or Walmart, or these little nurseries around my town, which I live in a small town. I mean, there was 4 options essentially, and I burned them out. I was just going to these places so many times. I was waiting for people to, call the police or start having a FBI agent track me like I'm some kind of, psycho, the nursery stalker, and so I tried to find something different. I was like, okay, let me try a different park. Let me, what if I went fishing? What if I went to the, to a pier or something that was nearby and on one of these lakes? Or I just tried to mix it up, find something different that I can do. Make a beach day, if I was walking, I had a recumbent bike and I was always riding the bike in my bedroom, and I would watch the same shows, riding the bike in the same place at the same speed and the same time, and sometimes it just meant I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm gonna walk in a different direction. I'm gonna go to a different place, or I'm gonna try a different exercise. It's just mixing it up, guys. That's essentially it. And trying to break up that Groundhog Day a little bit and find peace with it and accept it. And the quality of the day too. I think that's very important, which is something that I think was actually a theme in Groundhog Day, right? Like if you look at Groundhog Day, how complacent and just tired of the same thing he was going through every day. But then something changed, right? There was a quality that changed in the day. And that was a pretty big moment. I think in the movie, they were really focusing on him helping people and kind of taking his attention off the complacency that he was feeling from being almost narcissistic or just super focused on himself and his discontent for the town and everybody in it. And instead, he just sort of tweaked his perception, found a little bit of a purpose in it. And then suddenly he was happy with it. He had found his rhythm. Anyway, some things to think about, Let me know what you guys think in the comments section. If you like the video, please give me a like. Maybe consider subscribing. And until next time, keep your head up, guys. You are healing. You will heal. And when you heal, come back and let them know Coach Powers told you it was possible.